Is this going to be another Losers Club scenario? This is a film about a group of boys coming to age while battling some version of evil. I love throwback movies because it gives you that great sense of nostalgia that just smacks you right across the face. It's got a little Cruel Summer Bananarama going while they're riding their bikes. It's got G.I. Joe walkie-talkies. It's got that milk carton and, oh, that milk carton. I would never buy those anymore. Never! And they do their own version of hide and seek throughout the neighborhood. I love that. I used to play that back in the day, and it was phenomenal. I did not do it next to a serial killer, I don't think. Summer of '84 is a coming-of-age film specifically about one boy who believes his neighbor, a cop, is actually a serial killer. Now, why would this kid wait to tell his parents about this exciting serial killer news? Well, he's a bit of a conspiracy theorist, and let's just say he's probably cried wolf once or twice before, and nobody really overly believes his sort of harebrained thoughts. I really enjoyed this film, and I thought the opening narration did a great job of really opening up that feeling of suspicion. It's amazing what a first-person narration can do to an audience to really get them on their side, and that kind of got me thinking, I wish this was an unreliable protagonist. I wish this was like some sort of Edgar Allan Poe debauchery where you just don't know if you can trust the person who's talking to you. I love that this film makes me think of The Burbs nonstop. It's one of my favorite comedies, and there's so many aspects that they definitely took from The Burbs, and it warms my heart. This film does some things that you didn't see coming, and it takes you directions that you didn't necessarily think you were going to go, and you gotta be appreciative of that. Okay, we're talking spoilers now. Be aware. Towards the end of the film, when they get the footage that proves the cop is guilty, they start running up the stairs to run out of the house, and you're convinced at this point this is when the cop is gonna pull into the driveway and they're not gonna be able to leave the house, and you're gonna have a good suspense, tension-filled moment inside this house. Wrong. That's exactly what they don't do, and that's why I really thought this movie worked. Instead, they cut straight into the police station where they're showing the footage to the parents and the other cops, and the cops say, go get him, and then boom, everyone's on the search for the cop. This was really well done because I thought the cop was just going to get to the house and they were going to have one final showdown, one final battle, where one of them were going to come out victorious. But that's not what they did. They were able to make an extra beat to the film and grew that tension a little bit more. And kudos to those stupid parents and those stupid cops who didn't check the house, even though they knew that our main character was the next on the list of this serial killer. Gotta check the attic, boys. Gotta check the attic. What it all comes down to for this film, whether you like it or not, is if you enjoyed the ending. In the end, of course, the cop kills the larger kid, and the main character gets to stay alive, even though he theoretically should have been killed and could easily have been killed. The serial killer decides to let him live so that he can think about this in anguish and have to constantly look behind his back and over his shoulder because one day the serial killer is going to come back to get him. Now that's a freaky thought. In my book, I would much rather have to look behind my back than to get my throat slit. But that's just me. I enjoy life. This ending sets up an amazing sequel. Can you picture like 20 years in the future and the kid is 35, he's married to his old babysitter, and they have a child now too, so he has a family to protect, and he's all screwed up in the head because, he's turned into a bit of an alcoholic because, hello, he's seen people get murdered, he had a serial killer next door, of course he's all messed up in the head. That's why he could only marry the babysitter. And then all of a sudden, the serial killer comes back. And this poor kid, now an adult, with a wife and a little kid, has to protect them from the lunatic that's wanted to kill him for 20-something years. I mean, what a great sequel. I am totally on board. Make this sequel, please. Please, 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 please. Okay, a couple things irked me about this film. One of which is that I was never suspicious of anyone else in the movie. I just always figured it was going to be the cop, and it ends up being the cop. I don't know if they necessarily tried to veer us off in different directions, but I think that would have been a little bit fun for us. And speaking of that cop, I kind of wish a different actor portrayed him. I know he was supposed to be happy and family-oriented with the whole community and sort of seemed like a good guy, but I kind of found him to be a little overly goofy. And when he went out for his jogs, he looked ridiculous. And I couldn't help but not really feel too intimidated by him. I wanted that presence. I wanted that, oh man, like if that guy snaps, like we're in trouble. And I never really overly felt that from him. I also think he's a pretty bad serial killer because if you have people come to your house to say, hey, I think you're the serial killer, maybe you'd want to clean up a little bit. Maybe you'd like to put a better lock on your door. Maybe you want to get rid of some evidence. I don't know, but like if someone's clearly onto you, maybe you should consider cleaning up. Clean up! I just thought that was a little weird that he didn't try to clean up a little bit more and get rid of the evidence. Instead, he's posting pictures of all of his victims and his future victims on the wall, and I don't know, I get it, like a lot of people try to get caught supposedly, but I didn't feel like he wanted to get caught, so clean up your act, bro. Clean up your act so you can be in the sequel. Overall though, this is a really good film. It's fun. The kids as a whole aren't quite as wonderful as the Losers Club, but at the same time, the film works because you're really just following the one kid, more or less. And again, it's whether or not you're on board with the ending, but I'm on board for it because I'm on board for the sequel. And there has to be a sequel. But yeah, definitely check this out. It's on Shudder right now, and let me know what you think. Thanks, guys.